You know, what you're asking for won't be easy. I'm not looking for easy, she said. I'm looking for something that's wild. Can your marriage survive this? He asked, voice low, eyes dark, with something almost feral. I don't know, she said with a faint, pained smile, but I think I'll feel alive trying. He stepped closer, breath hitching. This isn't a fair trade. I'm not offering fairness. I'm offering clarity, warmth, and experiences you can't get from anywhere else. Their eyes held, and for a moment, time blurred. I should walk away, he said, fingers flexing at his sides. But you won't, she whispered, because you're starving, and I've been feeding you without mercy. His jaw clenched. I want to be touched by someone who means it, she said, and if I have to curate that experience like I curate a gallery, so be it. He reached for her wrist, his touch deliberate and trembling. Then say it, Elise. I'm inviting you into something dangerous, she said, but I'm asking with open eyes. Malik drew in a slow, shaky breath. And I accept, he said, voice gravel and heat. Not as a game, not as a transaction, but as the most beautiful form of surrender I've ever seen. She leaned in, her lips near his ear. Then don't break me. He pulled back to meet her eyes. Only if you promise not to save me. For a single breath, the world around them dissolved. This wasn't professional. This wasn't rational. It was the beginning of one of the most exquisite deceptions they would ever create. A lie so intoxicating it just might become the truth. The hotel room smelled like bergamot and velvet. City lights painted the walls with streaks of gold and red. Elise stood by the window, backlit and dangerous, her coat falling from her shoulders like she was shedding restraint. Malik hesitated in the doorway, hands in his pockets, heart thudding like he just stepped into something far bigger than desire. You're nervous, she said softly, turning to face him. I'm not used to being the sin, he replied. She walked toward him, slow and smooth. You're not the sin. You're the cure. Elise, you already have the drug, she whispered, stopping in front of him. You just need to give it to me. Her perfume wrapped around him like silk and smoke. He leaned in, lips barely grazing the curve of her neck. Your scent drives me wild. You know that, right? She smiled faintly. Then breathe me in. He did, long and slow. His hands found her waist like they belonged there. Your body, he murmured, mouth brushing her skin. It turns me on in ways I can't explain. You have no idea what you do to me. I think I do, she whispered, tilting her head. But tonight, I want to know exactly what it is. You'll give it to me, he said, voice roughening. Then you'll take it back. That's what we agreed, she teased, fingers slipping under the hem of his shirt. But I already know, he said, eyes locked on hers. I won't want to give you up. She stepped even closer, hips pressing into his. That wasn't part of the plan. He smiled, slow and carnal. Neither was this feeling. Their words ricocheted. Heat, challenge, yearning. And in the back and forth of their breathless banter, something else bloomed. Something real. I don't ever want another man to touch you the way I touch you, Malik said. Not after tonight. Then touch me like you mean it, she replied. And he did. Their mouths crashed like fate colliding. The kiss was desperate, full of ache and fire. He carried her to the bed without breaking eye contact, laying her down like she was something sacred. Clothes scattered like secrets, Hands explored like worship. Their bodies learned one another like rhythm and rhyme. Every movement, every moan, every sigh, they were making something more than love. They were making memories. Malik didn't just touch her body, he learned it, traced every inch until it felt like prayer. And Elise didn't just give in, she gave over, fully, recklessly. They moved like a secret never meant to be spoken, limbs tangled in silk sheets and stifled gasps. Elise felt everything, and Malik gave everything. They unraveled, slowly, quietly, like two people trying not to feel too much and failing. Later, they lay in the warm hush of the hotel room. The city hummed beyond the glass, but inside was stillness. Elise sat up, reaching for her blouse. Malik watched her dress in silence, eyes tracking her every move. She smoothed her skirt, fingers trembling slightly. He stood and walked toward her, barefoot and bare chested, the air still thick with her perfume. He cupped her face gently, studied her like she was something he wasn't ready to let go of. Then he kissed her, slow, deep, and lingering, the kind of kiss that asked a question without needing an answer. When they parted, their foreheads touched. I don't want you to leave, he murmured, voice raw. Elise paused, her breath brushing his lips. Then, softly, just for now. They held each other's gaze, something unspoken dancing between them. Her fingers slid down to his, holding, squeezing. Then she let go and walked toward the door. He watched her slip into the hallway, her scent still clinging to his skin, and as she disappeared from view, Malik smiled. Nevin's was Elise's favorite kind of place. Intimate, low lit, with jazz curling through the air like smoke. Velvet chairs, gold rimmed glassware, a long, moody bar glowing with amber bottles. She'd come here often, alone or with clients, when she needed to feel steady again. Tonight, she was anything but. Malik sat across from her, rolling up the sleeves of his charcoal button down like he was stripping off armor. The top two buttons were already undone. The hint of ink at his collarbone kept catching her eye. This space suits you, he said, voice low and warm. Didn't even have to ask. I knew it would. Elise smiled, lifting her wine glass. You finally learning to trust your instincts. He smirked. Only the ones that lead me to you. Their eyes held a steamy and passionate gaze. They ordered shared plates, grilled octopus, charred broccolini, lamb skewers kissed with saffron and smoke. Midway through the second glass of red, Malik leaned back in the booth, twirling his glass between two fingers. I've been stuck, he said. My last piece drained me. Haven't been able to create anything real since. Elise tilted her head. Define real. Something that feels like it's coming from the inside out, not the other way around. She nodded, letting the silence breathe before speaking. Maybe you're trying to finish a sentence you haven't fully lived yet. He blinked at her, caught off guard. Damn. She smiled, swirling her wine. You feel more than most people. That's your gift. But it can also shut you down when life gets loud. Malik studied her like she was the art. What made you stop painting? I didn't stop, she said. I just shifted. My art became curation, then the gallery, then creating space for others. Do you miss it? Sometimes, she said. But this, she gestured around the table to the wine, the music, him. This feels like a brushstroke too, just a different kind of canvas. His gaze dropped to her mouth. You make everything look like art, he said, almost under his breath. She glanced up, her expression soft. Maybe you just see it that way. Maybe I only see it when it's you. She didn't speak right away, just looked at him. Really looked. And in that gaze, something unspoken passed between them. A recognition, a surrender, a knowing. He leaned in, his voice husky and low. Come back to my place. No pressure, just let's not end this here. She set her napkin down, slowly. All right. His fingers found hers under the table. Warm, firm, grounding. She smiled, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's go see what we create next. As they stood, he helped her into her coat, hands lingering just a second longer than necessary on her shoulders. And when they stepped out into the night, the air wrapped around them like a shared secret, one that didn't need to be rushed, only lived. They left Nevins with fingers still entwined, the night folding around them like a whispered promise. Back at Malik's loft, the world quieted except for the steady rhythm of their breaths. He rewarded her gift of insight with the sweetest lies he'd ever told a woman, words laced with longing, tenderness, and possibility. But even as he spoke, a flicker of doubt lingered beneath the surface. A silent question. Where did the lies end, and where did the truth begin? Malik's loft was quieter this time. No jazz humming in the background, just the soft click of Elise's heels against the hardwood, echoing like punctuation in a sentence neither was quite ready to finish. She stepped inside without knocking, like she belonged there. He looked up from a half-finished canvas, brush still in his hand. His eyes drank her slowly. Back so soon. Elise set her purse down gently on the entryway table. You said not to forget you. His mouth tilted in that barely there smile she was starting to crave. And you remembered. She moved toward the window, not toward him. Her arms folded loosely across her waist like she was holding something delicate inside her. I couldn't stop thinking about what you said, about building a life around desire. He stepped behind her, quiet as breath, not touching her, just close enough that his presence wrapped around her like a question. And what does your design look like, Elise? She stared out at the skyline, the city glittering like possibility. I don't know yet. But tonight, it smells like saffron and paint, and it feels like danger wrapped in warmth. He exhaled, voice thick. Your scent has been stuck in my sheets. It's driving me mad. Do you even know what you do to me? She turned to face him, slow and deliberate. Then show me. His hands found her waist. The brush dropped soundlessly to the floor. You undo me completely. And still, he traced her jaw with one knuckle, reverent. You're going to give it back to me. Elise leaned in, a glint in her eye. And you're going to say my name like it's poetry. His voice dipped low and rough. You're not like anyone else. They give pieces. You give flame, thought, war. You give it all. I give it to you, she said, voice velvet and still. Only you. He groaned, resting his forehead to hers. I don't ever want another man to touch you the way I do. Then make me forget, she whispered. What followed wasn't hurried. It was intention, stitched into skin. They didn't fall into bed. They arrived there, like it was a destination written between stars. Every kiss was a question, every touch an answer. Later, she stirred with her head on his chest, and the night folded around them. Malik reached for her wrist, gentle but firm. Elise. She paused, looking at him. I don't want you to leave, he said, the words unraveling from somewhere deep. She softened. Just for now, she said, brushing her thumb across his jawline like a promise she wasn't ready to make. Then she pulled away, gently, like she was taking a part of him with her. He watched her leave, standing shirtless by the door, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. And for a man who thought he'd mastered detachment, he was dangerously close to unraveling. It wasn't supposed to go this far. They told themselves it was chemistry, a well-timed indulgence, an arrangement wrapped in velvet and denial. But somewhere between just one night and I couldn't sleep without you, 2 months passed in a blur of heat, laughter, and limbs tangled in moonlight. At first, it was a Thursday evening ritual: dinner, desire, departure. Then it crept into Mondays, then Saturdays, then Tuesdays, uninvited. They started to build a rhythm, one made of midnight glances and half buttoned shirts, of shared toothbrushes left at his sink and the scent of her lotion lingering on his pillow. He'd wake up with her hair fanned across his chest, heart thudding like it had forgotten how to rest. The gaps between their meetings narrowed until they were barely hours. She started stocking his fridge with things she liked. He moved his meetings around to accommodate just one more hour with her. And still, they didn't talk about what was happening, didn't name the quiet longing, the need. But Malik knew her laugh better than he knew his own voice, knew which wine to buy, knew she hummed in her sleep when she was truly relaxed, knew that when she touched the scar on his left hand without saying a word, she wasn't just tracing skin, she was tracing history. Elise had memorized his moods, the sound of his breathing when he was lost in painting, the way he always looked at her as if he were about to speak but changed his mind. They weren't just having sex, they were undoing each other, slowly, skillfully, like a secret unraveling beneath a silk dress. There were moments Malik would catch himself staring at her mid-sentence, completely disarmed by the way she held the glass or the way her voice dipped into velvet when she said his name. Moments Elise would lie awake in his bed after he fell asleep, watching his chest rise and fall, wondering how something so dangerous could feel so safe. They didn't fight. Not yet. But they both felt the pressure building, soft as a whisper, sharp as a thorn. He started to sketch her face without realizing. She started to cancel plans without an excuse. It wasn't love. At least that's what they told themselves. It was an addiction. One that grew stronger each time they touched. Each time he pulled her closer and she didn't resist. Each time they whispered things like, "This doesn't mean anything," while looking at each other like it meant everything. They weren't falling. They had already fallen. And the scariest part, neither of them wanted to climb out. The rain had started sometime after midnight, soft at first, then heavier, urgent, as if it were echoing the way they touched. Elise hadn't meant to stay this long, but when she was with Malik, intentions always melted, dissolved beneath the weight of his stare, his touch, the way he spoke her name like it was both question and answer. Tonight felt different, though. He hadn't kissed her when she walked in, just pulled her straight into him, whispering something about missing the way she fit against his chest. He'd been painting again. Pictures of her, of course. Abstract, emotional, full of color and ache. She saw it on the easel and said nothing, but something in her shifted. Now they were tangled again. Skin slick, sheets twisted, and silence sat heavy between them. The kind that followed something said that shouldn't be. Because he had said it. "I love you," he whispered against her collarbone as he pushed into her, slow, deep, and reverent. Then, again, at the edge of his release. "God, Elise, I love you." And she sat frozen for a moment, just a breath, but he felt it. She didn't say it back. And now she was doing what she always did. The rain hammered harder against the window. Inside, the heat was suffocating, thick with words left unsaid, with truths clawing to be heard. Elise was already pulling on her coat, hands trembling just enough to betray her calm. Malik's voice stopped her, low but sharp. "Why rush home to a cold, empty place," he said, "when you could be warm with me?" She froze, breath caught in her throat. "Move in with me," he said, stepping closer, eyes burning. She swallowed hard, her voice barely whispering, "You don't mean that." "I do." His hands clenched at his sides. "You knew this would get dangerous. You knew what you were doing, giving yourself to me like this. And I'm a single man starving for every inch of what you give, and you keep serving it willingly, Elise." Her eyes flashed fire. You're being selfish. Selfish? Malik's laugh was bitter. I'm the one here bearing everything, telling you I want more than this, more than the lies we tell ourselves every night. And you're going to walk away because you're scared. She shook her head, voice breaking with frustration. I'm not scared of you. I'm scared of what happens when the truth hits. You want me to throw away everything, but you don't even know what you want. I do, he said, stepping into her space, voice low and fierce. I want you. All of you. Not just your body, not just the nights we steal. I want your heart, your mornings, your fears. But you keep holding back, holding on to some ghost that doesn't love you the way I do. Elise's breath hitched. That's not fair. No, this is fair. Malik pressed. You keep walking back to a man who's already lost you. And you come here, giving me pieces you pretend aren't whole. But I see it all. She sat on the edge of the bed, her breath uneven. This has gotten messy, Malik, she said, tears catching in her lashes. I don't want to hurt you, but I would never leave my husband. You are mine. And I don't want you to walk away. Not tonight, not ever. She shook her head, stepping back, her coat slipping from her shoulder like a falling decision. It's not that I haven't imagined this, dreamed of it even, she said quietly, but dreams don't clean up reality. He moved in closer, voice low and tender. I know what it gives you. Structure, maybe even safety. But when was the last time you felt alive in his arms? Baby, I don't want to take you from your life. I just want to give you back to yourself. Elise's chest rose and fell in shallow bursts, her throat tight. He wasn't wrong. David hadn't noticed the shift. He hadn't asked why she was distant, hadn't touched her in weeks, months. But none of that made this simple. I made vows, she whispered. Vows he stopped honoring first, Malik said, softer now. Don't punish yourself for needing more. Her eyes stung. She grabbed her purse, but didn't move. This wasn't about lust anymore. It wasn't about escaping for an hour in Malik's arms. It was about staying in a life that left her numb or risking everything for a feeling that might not last. She looked toward the door, then back at the bed. Her hands trembled. Elise knew the next step would change everything. She took one breath, then another, and stood there, suspended between two lives. She didn't know if she was walking away from her past or toward her biggest mistake. Malik didn't say a word. He just stood there watching her, his chest rising, his fist unclenching like he knew that one wrong move would send her running. The rain outside had softened into a steady rhythm. Elise let out a long, tired sigh, not the kind that came from physical fatigue, but the kind that came from carrying too much for too long. She hadn't really slept in weeks, not since everything with David began to unravel. Even in her own bed, silence felt sharp. But here, surrounded by canvases, the low hum of jazz, and the faint smell of paint, quiet didn't feel so threatening. Still, she didn't move. Malik stepped toward her slowly. He didn't touch her, didn't reach for her, just slipped the coat off her shoulders, careful, like he didn't want to scare her off. The coat hit the floor with a soft sound. Elise. He said her name gently. I'm not asking you to leave him. I'm not even asking you to stay. I'm asking you to stop choosing things that are breaking you. That hit her in a place she hadn't let anyone touch. She glanced toward the painting, the one of her real face, no makeup, no pose, no mask, just color and paint, in pieces of herself she had forgotten how to name. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. I've built a whole life with David. A home? A family? I don't even know where that ends and I begin. Malik didn't argue. He just took her hand, quiet, steady. Then start with this, he said. Start with what's real, with how you feel right now. She looked down at their hands, his fingers wrapped around hers, not pulling, just holding. She didn't pick up the coat. She didn't speak. But when he turned and walked toward the bed, she followed. After so many years of feeling numb, the heat of Malik's passion made her feel too alive to resist. She knew what they shared wouldn't last, but for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like someone's wife or someone's mother. She felt like a woman a man couldn't take his eyes off of, desired, wanted, chosen. And tonight, that was enough.
I wanna take you back, but I can't. I wanna leave you behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love you, darling. It's not easy to love you, darling. I should've left you in the moment. I should've told you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. You just run.